Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world, and join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling history on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is May 27th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1930, the patriarch of the Rougeau family, Jacques Rougeau Sr. 1955, it's Eazy-E, Eric Bischoff. 1972, England's own Dynamic Domino. And last but not least, 1988, veteran women's wrestler Delilah Doom. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for May 27th. 2006, luchador legend Bull Ramos. 2013, former tag team partner of Cowboy Bill Watts, Buck Robley. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for May 27th. Jumping in the Wayback Machine and making 3 trips in the 1950s. First, 1956, Doug and Red Donovan defeat Herb Freeman and Larry Chen for the Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles. Moving just 1 year to 1957, Red Bastion ends the second NWA Texas Junior Heavyweight title reign of Rito Romero in Fort Worth, Texas. And our last stop in the 50s, 1959, Eddie Graham and Dr. Jerry Graham defeat Mark Lewin and Don Curtis for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Tag Team titles in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Grooving into 1960, we see Thor Hagen defeat Lee Hennig to win the NWA Central States Heavyweight title in St. Joseph, Missouri. 1967, Billy and Jimmy Hines win the Mid-American version of the NWA World Tag Team titles for a second time, ending the second reign of the Blue Infernos. Grabbing our bell bottoms for 2 stops into the 70s, first, 1974, Mr. X, Guy Mitchell, and Brute defeat Leo Madril and Dan Crafat to win the Vancouver version of the NWA Canadian Tag Team titles. 3 years later, in 1977, Jimmy Snuka defeats El Gran Goliath in Houston, Texas for the World Class Championship Wrestling Texas Heavyweight title. Making a quick pit stop into the 80s, 1988, Owen Hart defeats Hiroshi Haas in Sendai, Japan to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. And last but not least, 1996, in one of the most famous moments in modern wrestling history, Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon, fresh from his stint in the WWF, shows up during the first ever 2-hour edition of WCW Monday Night Nitro, entering from the crowd and informing Eric Bischoff that he was here to declare war on WCW. This was the beginning of what would become the New World Order. Those were your short but sweet pro wrestling history highlights for May 27th. I'm the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.